How many of you grew up like I did, not rich? I remember about 12 years old, I wanted to ride my bicycle about a mile down the road to the local Quick Sack. I was gonna go get me an icing. I came in and asked my dad, I said, Dad, I need some money to go to the Quick Sack. And my dad said, how old are you? I said, well, I'm your son. I'm 12. And he said, you're 12 years old. You don't need money, you need a job. So he took me, true story, down on Nolensville Road. I grew up in Antioch, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. Took me down the main drag there in Nashville, Tennessee. Took me to a print shop and printed up 500 business cards, said Dave's Lawns. I said, Dad, this is a little overkill. I just wanted an icy. Came home and he said, you go knock on the closest 50 doors here in the neighborhood and you ask those people with enthusiasm if you can have the opportunity to provide their lawn care needs. Don't you knock on the door and say, you don't want me to cut your grass, do you? Proud of my dad for teaching that mean little bald-headed kid that stuff. I graduated from high school, 18 years old. 3 weeks later, passed my real estate license, started selling real estate. Took off to college and went through college in 4 years, which is what you do if you're paying for it. And so I was working my tail off, getting all the way through college, and I met my beautiful wife, Sharon, and we got married, and we graduated, and we started off our lives broke. Came out of college, and I went through a couple jobs, and I started buying and selling real estate. I grew up in the real estate business. Mom and Dad were in the real estate business, and I was good at it. And starting from nothing, by the time I was 26 years old, I had about $4 million worth of real estate. A little over $1 million net worth. In my best year ever in that business, I made $250,000 cash taxable income one year. That's $20,000 a month. I don't know where you grew up, the neighborhood I grew up in, that's known as rich. 26 years old, our bank that we owed $1,200,000 to got sold to another bank. I know that never happens in your town. And they looked down, they said, a kid 26 years old owes us over $1 million. Let's limit this relationship, which is banker talk for ruin his life. And they called our notes. I had 6 months to come up with over $1 million. And the second largest lender, another bank, $800,000 owed to them, heard I was in trouble because I was in trouble. And it gets out in the town, doesn't it? They're not supposed to talk about it, but they do. And they called another $800,000. So I had $2 million due. It's all tied up in real estate. And we spent the next 2.5 years of our life losing everything we owned. We were foreclosed on. We were sued. We were sued so many times, the guy with the sheriff's department that brings the little lawsuit papers, we're like on a first-name basis with him. Sharon's making him cookies. Come on in, Harold. And finally, with a brand new baby and a toddler, we hit bottom. And we were bankrupt. I didn't know what to do. I was 28 years old. My marriage is hanging on by a thread. I met Jesus. I met him on the way up. I got to know him on the way down. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Pain is not my preferred method of learning, but it is a thorough teacher. Yeah, you will read the Bible in those times. What did I do wrong? I remember standing in the shower with it as hot as I could stand it in my face and just stand there and cry because I was so scared. And I had started reading a guy named Larry Burkett when I was in the middle of the soup, a guy who teaches that the Bible talks about money principles. Now, I've got a finance degree, okay? I've got letters and licenses after my name, you know? And I still did stupid with zeros on the end. And we started handling our money this way. And I gotta tell y'all something. It worked. It turns out this is the truth. And to the extent this doesn't line up with your feelings, get over yourself, you're wrong. To the extent your broke friend doesn't like your biblical financial principle, Well, if broke people are making fun of your financial plan, you're on track. It's like fat people making fun of your diet, okay? Think about this. If you've made mistakes with money, you know what that makes you? Over 12. Every one of you have, probably this week. And so have I, and I teach this for a living, and everyone listens to me. But I make fewer mistakes now than I used to make, because I found God's Word, and I applied these devastatingly simple but profound concepts to my life and to my money. First one, you have to have a budget. You have to write it down on paper, on purpose, before the month begins. Every dollar has a mission. Every dollar has a name. Not sort of, kind of in my head. Not it's on my iPhone app. Write it down on paper, on purpose, before the month begins. Every dollar has a name, and if you're married, you agree on that with your spouse. Money Magazine says 78% of you are going to have a major negative financial event in any given 10-year period of time. You're going to have a job layoff. You're going to have a car wreck. Something's going to happen, and you're going to need some money. Something's going to happen, isn't it? You're going to need some money. The second thing you save for is you save up and pay cash for things. So when you save up and pay cash for them, guess what? That means you had a plan. That means you'd saved money. That means you had a budget. And that means you don't have any debt, because you just pay for it. And this interesting thing happens when you pay for it. You own it. It's over. Transaction's over. Last one's my favorite. People who win with money always are givers. 100% of them are givers. Whether they're people of faith or not, they're always a giver. Always. You will not win with money until you learn how to give. 100%. And here's why. When you give, you become a generous person. Not just financially generous or mathematically generous, but your spirit changes. You're the person who opens doors. You're the person who carries groceries out to somebody's car. You're the generous person, and generous people fall back into number 3, quality relationships. You see, these things all start to blend together, and you get this beautiful kaleidoscope of God's Word called your life, and it transforms your life.